golden rule is pretty good moral compass for anyone. You know, treat others how you would like to be treated. And that alone. Just think if we evolved our political thinking a little bit. And there are 4 contenders for president. We picked the top 4 because, well, most board games can be played 4-player. So, most situations, at least it would be double the candidates we usually do now, which is the Democrats and Republicans. In a 4-player contest, you know, it would be the top 4 political parties, which is usually the Democrats, the Republicans, the Libertarians, and the Greens. You might think, well, board games are all about intelligence. Not really. See, the emotional centers of the brain and the intelligence centers of the brain, like all parts of the brain, sort of work together. The intelligence center of the brain is the cerebellum. It works on logical processing and analysis, other things. Another important part of the brain is the right supramarginal gyrus, which controls empathy. And there are other parts of the brain that deal with register of luck and confidence and patience, which is all important in gaming. So, if you had a 4-player game in each presidential election, you chose a game that the 4 had not played together. And maybe you have a rule where these 4 can't, play games together unless, afterwards or something. But either way, you have to pick a game that the 4 top political parties haven't played together. You're really working with all parts of the brain when you're board gaming. You're working with emotional intelligence, analytical intelligence, patience, confidence. All that plays a part in board gaming. So if you had these 4 people, you had a Republican, a Democrat, a Green, and a Libertarian, it wouldn't come down to voting. You might just have the top 4 parties, like the runoff election kind of works. And you pick 4 candidates in 4 different political parties that you think would be good. 1, 2, 3, and 4. You put a 1, 2, 3, and 4. They do something similar like that in Australia's runoff election. I'm sure somebody will correct me, and it doesn't really matter, but you pick your 1, 2, 3, and 4 from 4 different political parties in this new system we could have. So in most points, it would be the Libertarian, the Green, the Republican, and the Democrat. So why not just have that as a way to determine who should be the President of the United States for 4 years? See, a lot of times these arguments between countries pretty much boil down to, I think you're stupid, versus, no, you're the stupid one. They don't really seem to take into consideration that things aren't just about intelligence, things are about compassion. And really both things are important. I'm more loving than your religion versus I'm more loving than your religion. So let's kill each other over it. Doesn't make a lot of sense for international diplomacy. I'm a Christian, so I'm more loving. If you don't think so, I'm going to shoot you versus, no, I'm a Jew or I'm a Muslim or a Hindu and I'm more loving. If you don't think so, I'm going to shoot you. That doesn't make any sense. So maybe with like international disputes between countries, if there's a dispute between maybe a war between Australia and New Zealand over something, why not just plank the leaders down or somebody that the leader assigns to play a board game? Doesn't that seem more reasonable to you than shooting each other and losing human lives? I mean, think about it. Losing human lives. Oh, fuck. One's out of sequence. Losing human lives is like losing money. You can always make more, but it costs money to make money. So if we just solved our conflicts through board gaming, maybe we wouldn't have all these wars. Bread. Play a 9-hour game of the colonists between 4 contestants for President of the United States. It seems a little more reasonable than what we got here, which is basically who has the most money behind them. And people could possibly bet on this. And maybe they couldn't just be limited to money. Maybe the franchises could get on it, like, you could go to McDonald's and say, well, I want to bet, I want to put $10 on John Q. Smith for the Libertarian Party. And if I win, this particular restaurant will owe me $10 and also a meal deal a day at McDonald's. This particular restaurant. And you'd have a lot of people putting a lot of money in and losing money in order to try to win their money back. And also like a meal deal. So if the corporations got behind sponsoring sort of a peaceful way to resolve conflict and war, instead of shooting each other with guns, you would think that the corporations would actually make more money than going to war, because everybody would contribute like $10. If there's like a conflict of interest between, I don't know, Denmark and Belgium, and the international stage was getting on this, well then, Honda could say, well, if you put in $1,000, you could vote for either Denmark or Belgium. And if you win, you get $1,000 back in a new car. Or you're put into a pool. Like, well, okay, like 50 people entered at this Honda dealership, $1,000. They're going to vote for Belgium to win this playoff with the colonists between Denmark over this international, or this the dispute between the two nations about something big that the international scene got in on. So you couldn't logically award everybody $1,000 in a new car. What you would do is say, well, all these people that bet $1,000 for a new car, they're in the pool, and then we just do a lottery. I would think that would make things a lot more fun and a lot more peaceful than settling things through war, which would, save some bullets and make the corporations a lot of money who sponsor wars anyway. You wouldn't lose the human lives, and popularize some board game for a while until the next international dispute came along and the new board game was chosen. Just trying to open these cards. This is Halloween. It was Halloween yesterday, so don't make fun of me for my Batman pants. Golden rule, people. Grow up. See, that's what I think a lot of these Kiwi Farms people and trolls forget, is when you treat people like shit, you get treated like shit. Just naturally that occurs. I mean, if you're there talking shit about a bunch of people, you're probably not just talking about me on your little troll fucker website. You're talking about this person over here, that person over there. Maybe they're talking about you, so you're bitter and angry. So you're talking about all these people, like you're Jared Cheeseman, and you're just pissed off at Jared Byron, and you're pissed off that somebody's talking about you, so you pick an enemy to fight. I kind of wonder how that works out for you. Like, are you getting real laid on that shit? I mean, I know my problems with not getting laid. It could be that I'm overweight, even though there's a lot of overweight guys. It might, boil down to everybody's like me, except they're Christian, and it just comes down to the fact that they're Christians, and I'm an atheist, and I seemingly don't understand love thy neighbor, love thy enemy. So I am decided to really embrace non-violence a little more and talk more about that, because that might improve my chances. The other way that you can improve your chances, of course, is to have more money, which is evil, but, whatever. If I was a billionaire, this wouldn't be a problem. But I'm poor, and I'm trying to make a little money through PayPal. So the only real option is to realize, well, there are dudes like you out there that look like you and act like you, and may even embrace the same things as you. But there's never that one person that's exactly like you, no matter what you do. So maybe if we remember that a little bit, that whole love thy neighbor thing might actually work well with you. And the atheist might look at that and say, well, at least he's trying. And the agnostics might look at that and say, I might see it a little different, but yeah, at least he's trying. Or maybe I get a laugh out of somebody instead of no reaction, which is good. A laugh can be good. Some people might see me as a stand-up comedian. Some people might see me as an activist. Some people might see me as a Renaissance man. But if I look at my post tomorrow and every one of them had 8 billion downvotes, well, then I would realize that no matter what I do, I'm the problem, which isn't fair. So, I mean, it's got to be something. It'll be some reason why I'm not good enough to have a girlfriend. It'll be a bad reason, and I'm sure a lot of people would agree with me, because I could just copy that post and, show it to Facebook, and they'll give all the reasons that that's a bad reason, just because that's fun for them to do. I'm sorry, it was a bad reason. I'll just, I'll show some people, and they'll next group I'm invited in or whatever, I just jump into one of those groups that I kind of have on mute. Excuse me. And I'll say, well, this is the excuse that I got from this chick, why she wouldn't go out with me. And what I responded with was, okay, well, fine, whatever. And then she started asking questions. I said, well, I'll answer your questions if you go on one measly date with me. She said, well, I'd like to get to know you a little bit better. And I said, well, there's no better way to get to know me than go on a date with me. And then she ghosted me. So I just moved along to the next person because that seems to happen a lot. At that point, at least I'm not an incel. Because at least I'm trying. Incels just kind of have given up on the whole process. And either insult women or the opposite sex or what they're into. You don't find any incels saying, misogyny is wrong or misandry is wrong. Femcells. You don't see that. It all pretty much boils down to women are inferior to men or men are inferior to women. And I'm saying that they're equal. And I am getting out there. I met this chick that took the little gift that I gave today, inviting her to sushi. I said there was food in it, but there was actually a small board game called Sneaky Cards. And an invite to go have sushi with me or to go have pizza with me. And to get a hold of me on Facebook or to get a hold of me on Instagram, and that I wasn't about the hate. There's a link to my YouTube on Instagram, Facebook. I don't care if it bores you. It's exciting to somebody because it's good to me. And I get a like or two out of like 3,600 blah 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 fans that don't really say anything anymore. Because I don't know. Maybe people just don't want to be online anymore. People just don't like me anymore, but I stick around. It doesn't really matter. Maybe it's something I'm doing. Maybe it's something they're doing. Maybe it's just some reason that's just a bad reason. But usually when women talk, and they sort of want to test you to see if you're good enough. So they come in like insulting you sometimes, or they either come in insulting you, or they come in all in. And if they come in all in, they're usually not in your town. Because the object for me is to find a girlfriend. The whole platonic friendship thing, I've given up on it. I'll go with platonic friendships as acquaintances, but I'm not going to hang out with you. I'm tired of this game. I could go do my own thing and then come downtown every once in a while, give away some food or whatever to the homeless, say have a good night, come back home. And she was cute too. She was a cute black girl. First I was like, nah, she's a little heavy. And I thought, she's cute. I would date her. She's cute. She's not that heavy. I mean, look at me. I'm overweight. I've certainly dated heavier chicks. She had pretty eyes. I thought, At first I was like, nah. Then I looked at her and was like, yeah, she alright. She alright. So I would date her. Maybe 21. She was smoking a cigarette, so she had to be 21 because you have to be 21 to smoke in Washington State. I don't really like cigarette smoke, but it is not something that is a deal breaker for me. I'm not one of these like anti-smoking Nazis that will say, if you smoke, you can't be around me. My dad does not like cigarette smoke, but he is married to my stepmom. So it's not a deal breaker for me. And it does show that I'm willing to talk to Christians, because if she's black, she's probably a Christian. And it is Spokane. Most people here are Christians. It's not like Olympia. There's less atheists and agnostics, and percentage-wise, here than Olympia. So it does show that I'm willing to talk to Christians, and I'm willing to talk to black girls, and I don't really need to prove everything to everybody, because it's none of your business. You'll dox her. You'll find out who she was, and you'll dox her. And that's not fair to the girl, so fuck you. I'm not playing your game. You're a shit stain. That doesn't mean I don't have my faults, but if you're an asshole to me, I'm going to be an asshole to you. You got nothing on me. There's no criminal thing that I'm doing. Just going out and trying to make friends. If that's a crime, then kill me, because that's your problem. You say anything like hateful, like fuck yous to me, or that you just don't believe what I'm talking about, I just be like, well, okay, whatever. If it's mean enough, I will block you. If it's just like, if it's a kind of a nice put down, or a denial or a ghost, then I'll go try to find somebody else. At least I'm not an incel, because an incel would be here not even trying, and of course bitching about women. So, whoever says I'm an incel is a liar, and I don't really need to prove that to you, because you're assholes to me. And assholes don't deserve proof. Assholes deserve to get their asses kicked. In some way, violent or non-violent. They at least deserve a good tongue lashing and a stern conversation. If you're an asshole, you deserve a stern conversation. And if I'm an asshole, well, fine. But you're not going to get to me, because if you talk shit on Facebook or Instagram, I will block you, because you're a liar and a piece of shit, and nobody believes you except your little clique. And of course, if it's incriminating enough, I'll take a screenshot and I'll show it to the Spokane Police Department. It's more evidence that kiwi farms in Sofala are verging very close to breaking the law. And the more evidence they get, the more they will contact and try to get your piddly little troll website taken off the internet. The more evidence that you give, the more we can deal with Chris Hansen making false claims about me that are not rooted in evidence. They're rooted in opinion. And since I'm not breaking the law, Chris Hansen can go fuck himself for all I care. He's just trying to get his show back on top after it was canceled, after that person killed themselves and the show got canceled. And he's trying to like regain his fame after he bounced those checks that he was arrested for bouncing, worth like $13,000, and the fact that he cheated on his wife. You always find that with people that are like willing to call you out by name publicly, that they have a shady past. And as far as I know, I'm calling out websites, not a name. So whatever the excuse is that you're not willing to have sushi with me, or pizza, I'll accept it. I'm not saying I'm perfect. Again, skinny arms, like a lot of guys. Chubby like a lot of guys. Beard like a lot of guys. But I am an atheist, and Christians are notorious for being bigots. So, if it's a no, I don't really care. But if you come up to me with the bullshit, I'm gonna just block you. There's no real point. If you want to get to know me, go on a date with me. Instagram, LucasWerner79. And that's why I block the comments, because they're always rude, and fuck you. Grow the fuck up.